Elias knew survival, but here, the rules changed. He was deeper than any legend dared to claim. Then came the tracks. Tracks that belonged to no known beast. Tracks of pure, crushing power.
A sound followed. A sound that was not a roar, but the earth itself groaning under a terrible weight.
Deep within the gloom, he found the circle. A forgotten, cursed sanctuary. Not statues, but victims.
And then, the source of the dread, Malakh.
It didn't need to run. Its pursuit was a slow-motion catastrophe, a trail of absolute ruin. His skill was his only shield. Every muscle, every instinct, screaming, "Run!"
It was not the man it wanted. It was the artifact, the ancient spark of Aetheris itself.
It was the artifact.
Cornered. The abyss below. The nightmare behind.
The silence before oblivion. But the darkness was not complete. A new light, an ancient protector.
FYRA, the myth walker, a guardian of true light. Its presence was a declaration.
Chaos met order. Obsidian met platinum. A clash millennia in the making.
The purified fire, not heat, but pure kinetic energy, designed to shatter the very stone of Malakh.
A shield of darkness. An unyielding defense, born of the Earth's deepest fear.
The combatants met. Strategy was abandoned for brute, ancient strength.
The corrosive breath. The very air turned to poison, melting stone and metal alike.
FYRA countered, not by strength, but by nature's cruelest irony.
Water meets acid, and chaos.
The tale of lightning, a dance of fury. But Malakh was cunning, using the battlefield as its weapon.
The weakness found, the strategy set, the final, ultimate power unlocked. The spear of the divine. Light pierces the heart of darkness, the end of Malakh's reign. The chaos fades. The ancient beast is undone, leaving only silence.
The proof of the impossible. A cold, black promise of the power that lay beneath Aetheris.
A silent communion. A thank you, shared between the protector and the survivor.
The promise of freedom. The Guardian's final gift. He left with a tale no one would believe. And a burden of proof that transcended the known world.
The forest settles. The secrets Aetheris remain guarded, waiting for the next soul.
Unyielding force met ancient defense. The ground trembled beneath the sheer will of their collision.
Malakh fought with the brute strength of chaos. Every movement, a disaster for the forest. Survival demanded intervention. Magic met magic. The shield held, but the dark influence chipped away at the light. Even a god beast could feel the shock. A moment of weakness. But FYRA was the spirit of Aetheris itself. It would not fall.
The pest returned. A minor wound, a major distraction. Elias had bought his friend time.
The air belonged to FYRA. A chance to observe, to seek the truth of Malakh's defense. The weak point revealed, the chinks in the obsidian shell. FYRA knew what it must do. FYRA, the weak point revealed. Time stood still. drawing line. FYRA prepared the ultimate strike. Malakh understood. This was not a wound. This was annihilation.
This was annihilation.
The darkness panicked. Too late. The light always finds a way.
The light,
Annihilation complete. The ancient evil was consumed by the very light it sought to extinguish.
The balance was restored.
Elias was a survivor, but in the presence of this ancient majesty, he was merely a witness. The black stone, the final piece of evidence, the anchor to a truth no one would accept. A silent bond. The protector acknowledged the human who defied the odds.
Time for departure. The veil between worlds opened, if only for a moment.
With a promise of silence and a story of truth, Elias stepped through, leaving Aetheris to its slumber.
The secret sealed. The Guardian remained, watching over.
And so, the world outside remained ignorant, until the day the whispers of Aetheris called again. Unyielding force met ancient defense. The ground trembled beneath the sheer will of their collision.
Malakh fought with the brute strength of chaos. Every movement, a disaster for the forest.
Survival demanded intervention.
The sheer influence chipped away at the light.
Even a god beast could feel the shock.
The brute strength connected. Even a god beast could feel the shock of such ancient force.
A moment of weakness. But FYRA was the spirit of Aetheris itself. It would not fall.
The pest returned. A minor wound, a major distraction. Elias had bought his friend time. The air belonged to FYRA. A chance to observe, to seek the truth of Malakh's defense. The weak point revealed. The chinks in the obsidian shell. FYRA knew what it must do.
Time stood still. Drawing the sacred FYRA provided strike. Malakh understood. This was not a wound. This was annihilation.
The darkness panicked. Too late.
The light always finds a way.
Annihilation complete. The ancient evil was consumed by the very light it sought to extinguish.
The chaos fades. The ancient beast is undone, leaving only silence and a cold relic.
The proof of the impossible. A cold, black promise of the power that lay beneath Aetheris.
The proof of the impossible.
A silent communion. A thank you, shared between the protector and the survivor.
The promise of freedom, the Guardian's final gift. A burden of proof. He left with a tale no one would believe. The forest settles. The secrets of Aetheris remain guarded, waiting for the next soul brave enough.
FYRA's agility turned the tide, targeting the weak spots, forcing a reaction.
Acid met fire. Malakh's poison was strong, but FYRA's defense was absolute. Claws dug deep. A wrestling match between light and darkness, thousands of feet above the jungle floor. Small, but strategic. Elias found the opportunity in the shadow of the giant. The feather storm. Precise, relentless, exploiting every fissure left by the plasma fire. The accumulation of damage. The unstoppable force had begun to wear down the immovable object.
A desperate final charge. Malakh sacrificed its defense for pure, unadulterated devastation.
The Guardian found its purchase. Precision over brute force. The cracks deepened.
The human element. Vulnerable, yet essential. Survival was a razor's edge.
Retreat was the final maneuver, allowing the power to coalesce, preparing for absolute finality.
The final judgment descended. A weapon forged from the very essence of light and life.
For the first time, Malakh knew fear. The absolute, paralyzing fear of its own end.
Silence from the darkness. The end of the shadow.
Returning to the dust, the great beast was no more than a terrible memory.
Malakh, a terrible memory.
The long night was over.
The trophy of the impossible. A shard of the nightmare, now his own. A moment of grace. The shared burden of Aetheris's balance. The time to leave. The connection was made. The path home would be provided.
FYRA.
The path home.
A story that would never truly end.
Aetheris sealed its wound. The secret was safe once more.
The forest waits. And in its deep silence, the legend is born anew.